Right. The weird word Calistich used to describe the machine he heard about, the concatenating, it's I suppose sort of a better word to describe it would be linking. So it would be it's not a, the machine decides to linking the various consciousnesses, not really emerging them or merging them necessarily. So potentially the point of the machine, the resonance chamber, would be to link me to all the other cast-offs. And the Spectre says the purpose of the machine would be to basically get rid of sorrow, the creature haunting us. I'm not quite sure how linking all the cast-offs would achieve that, though. At the same time, the sorrow is hunting all the cast-offs, and it doesn't seem to be hunting us because of what we do. So it wouldn't be odd in any way
Of
for them to
course.
be tied to each other.
Naturally.
Tol Magur. As you approach, the wild-haired woman eyes you speculatively and whispers something to her companions. They burst out laughing, and a slight smirk plays about her lips. A breathing mass dangles from a cord around her neck, and you can see where it has cut permanent grooves into her face. She ruffles her hair, messing it still further, and sings out, "Come to buy a slave, cast-off. If you've come to me, you must want something of the sort." How do you know I'm a cast-off? The tattoo. I've had dealings with your kind before. I know about you. She rakes her fingers through her hair. If anything, the motion serves to obscure her vision even more. So, cast-off, you have information you might want. I have information you might want. Of course, it comes with a price. What kind of information? You think you'll get it from me that easily? I don't think so. I know your type. You cast-offs, not a one of you can be trusted. I give you this information, you're gone before I can collect my prize. So you'll forgive me if I decline to say outright what secrets I hold. Okay, so you hold secrets that I can't be told about, and I should totally pay you for them. Yeah, I'll
Making
pass.
a note.
One of my wards has run off. She's taken a head wound. Not my doing, and I've been watching after her. I don't know where she's gone, but I suspect she's headed to Cliff's Edge. Plenty of other urchins clamoring about the place, and she'd find it easy to blend in. Sadly, my troop and I are detained here, but we can't go ourselves. She's a scrawny child named Rin. Head wound, but it's covered by dark curly hair. Was a little necklace around her throat, babbles about her gods. Go get her for me, and I'll tell you what you want to know. Okay, answer a few other questions for me first. Fine. Tell me about yourself. I'm a slaver. I'm the last person you want to make an enemy. I've got a reputation of coming through on my word. Nothing else need concern you. Um, what about the Order of Truth? You want to deal with them? Be my guest. Those pompous Aeon priests are up by Government Square. They think they can unlock the secrets of the past, but they're not focusing on what's most important, which is creating for the future. They say they're studying, learning, but the fact is they're not doing anything useful. Don't let them tell you otherwise. But that's clearly not true. Right. I mean, I suppose you could make that sort of an argument about archaeology or something like that, but this is literally a world that has massive amounts of technological wonders all over the place, and no one really knows what they do. So saying that studying that sort of secret past is somehow not doing anything worthwhile is just nonsensical. Mm, mm. Cult of the Changing God? Her lip curls. Delusional meaning seekers. They spend their time chasing their imaginary deity, ignoring what it means to be alive. Oh, what has he done now, they say, and I tongue his divine arts, as if knowing his life makes theirs any better. Um, Studying his actions, they might be able to replicate his successes. I don't agree with that. You'll, you don't. There's a reason for the actions of successful people. You can't just blindly imitate them. I don't know. They seem like whores to fame and power. Huh, a cast-off who sees past the trappings of imagined glory. Who would have thought? Don't think that this endears you to me. We've got the same opinion, so what? I don't know. Yeah. Mm, the reason I'm sort of a... I've been monitoring the hard drive activity. There was a huge spike there for a while, and the recording does not cause that. Computer did something in the background on its own, and I fucking don't understand what it is. I hate that. If there's one thing I hate about the Windows system, I wish there could be just a way for you to tell it to basically just shut the fuck up with the background things while I'm doing my important thing. That's something that the operating system desperately needs, because it has all kinds of hidden updates and other things that it basically downloads or does in the background. But sometimes you just basically want it to not do that. I mean, I understand that it's important in the overall health of your system and your devices, but I'd like it to basically to say to it that for this 1 hour or 2 hour period, could you fucking not do any of that? Thanks. Hopefully in the future. Um, Slavery. Yeah, I don't know how the system here works. Is it allowed? Evidently it is, but it's not so bad, not horrific. Almost no one sells them for parts anymore. Fact is, most of them go down to the Bloom, where they can work up their debt to society by opening a mall or two. It's not a forever thing, it's a punishment, right? Slavery as punishment. I'm not sure if that's a... I suppose that's somewhat better than just slavery for the fun of it. Hmm. Anything else I can ask that might be of some use? Yeah, she doesn't give two shits about this. Another quest. Find some kind of a kid. Search for the missing slave girl Rin.
Of course.
Anyone else we haven't talked to?
Go.
Well, I think there was someone here named person
We shall see.
Belazar. Beliazar. This thin, fidgeting Aeon priest shoots furtive, sidelong glances at the creature in the nearby cage while humming a nonchalant tune. When he sees that you're watching him, he flinches. Over the course of a few frantic breaths, shock becomes embarrassed anger and he opens his mouth to shout at you. Yes? What is it? What is so goddamn fascinating about me that you feel the need to stare? What do you know about the creature over there? What? Belisar says, jumping. Then he takes a breath and struggles to sound offhand. It's a Nycthemeron, a biomechanical creature. An information gatherer, in fact. He seems to calm down as he warms to the topic. They're dangerous, though. You can only speak to them at night. During daylight, they attack without provocation. A living repository of knowledge, Kalistich murmurs, watching the creature. I wonder what places it has seen, what it knows. Belisar's eyes narrow suspiciously. Seem nervous. I'm not, Belisar says, his eyes stealing to the caged creature again. I just don't like it when people sneak up on me. You're planning something, aren't you? Belisar weighs the intent of your words with narrowed eyes. Are you with the Order of Truth or just snooping? We could try to deceive him. Kalistich is with the Order, though. I suppose I'm a friend of the Order. Maybe I can help you with something. I'm not sure if I want to deceive people in general. I mean, if it's an important matter to me, sure, but this is just some random guy. No, I'm just curious. Well, I'm not planning anything. I'm enjoying the fresh air. He snaps, his eyes starting to the Nycthemeron. Kalistich smirks. He is up to something. It's his nature. We should go to the Order of Truth and ask Min what's going on here. Okay. Seems like a plan to me.
I'm going.
Kasmin and Mimin. Okay, a resting place. Can I buy stuff
We
from
shall
you?
see.
Do you have supplies you could share? Share? Oh dear, we are a small group and not wealthy. We exist on donations, curios, and occasional great gift from one of your siblings. For instance, we had a weapon once used by Chalcedon. The Chalcedon, commander of... My point is that we require payment for our wares. Yeah, that's fine. Sorticon Shunt. +1 training level in deception skills, +2 damage with accessory attacks, -3 resistance. So nothing particularly interesting, nothing bad either though. Okay, what can you tell me about the beliefs of your church? We tell the world that you and your brethren are aspects of the divine truth of the changing God, and that each of you brings forth a particular facet of his truths. We seek to study you so that we can become more like you. Her teeth gleam as she smiles at you. Right. What are the benefits of joining your church? I don't want to join. Mimin steeples his fingers. We can provide your adherents with useful items. We can offer safety against the depredations of those who would harm them as they sleep. Our members may be available to aid each other in specific situations. Right. I'd like to join you. No, 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 no. Tell me about the other cast-offs. Casmin smiles and laughs. We have spent years compiling our records, revered one. I know that time seems as nothing to your kind, but we must protect our knowledge. Perhaps if you were to join our group, provide some of your experience to add to our knowledge. So that's a pass. We can potentially sleep here. I'm not sure if it's free or not, but we're not in desperate need of sleep yet, so I'll pass on it for now. It might be worthwhile to ask though, so I know what to plan for. We would be honored if you chose to stay with us. We do request a small donation. Okay, 40 gems, right. So it's not that bad. Yeah, we have 100 already. That's not a problem. But it's still something I don't want to do without a reason. Okay. Underbelly, Cliff's Edge, or Government Square. I'm inclined to go to Government Square and the Order of Truth. We can ask for more information about what the guy is doing down here, and there were other researchers there that probably all have something they want us to do, or research that could prove useful for us to know. Also, Callistage is from there, so she might be able to aid us. And later on, if we get rid of her, yeah, so now would be the correct time to take advantage of her connections.
Sure enough. Just how much money do you have, lad? Out of curiosity.
Lots? Several lots. Possibly lots of lots. Lots is a number, right?
In all the ways that matter, yes.
Happy to help.
What is this? This fountain is constructed of a material that seems halfway between wood and stone. It doesn't contain water as might be expected. Instead, it's filled with swarming tiny fish-like creatures that leap and cavort in a wriggling mass, chattering to each other in what sounds like 1,000 different tongues. Examine the woodstone. The fountain, now that you're looking at it, is unfathomably old. Coppery tongue-like decorations curl up and over the rim of the structure, as if flapping at the endless stream of creatures within. Listen to the creatures. You fold your arms, listening intently to the fish jabber at each other. It sounds like a cloud of nonsense syllables smashed into baby speak. Perception. A few often repeated sounds target your attention. This is no string of gibberish after all. They're speaking a variety of languages, but ones you've never heard before. Listen to some more. The fish-like creatures continue to gibber, a song of melodic syllables and broken words. Maybe if I had more perception I would be able to figure out what the point is. Or more lore skill, maybe. Catch one of the creatures. Okay. I'm not sure if I want to spend points on this. It seems like failure would not be a problem anyway. You deftly snatch a single fish from the glistening tumbling flood. The bumbling mass of remaining creatures squawk together in nonsensical outrage. You caught this creature from a fountain of sorts in Government Square, small, fish-like, and constantly squirming. It never requires food or other nourishment, and it gibbers constantly in an indecipherable language. Well, it's worth 100 shins. Maybe with more perception we could return to these.
At last.
Dignitaries, ambassadors, couple of named persons. The structure is made of strange material that seems halfway between wood and stone. Alien symbols are drawn in red upon the walls. It's the same thing as the fountain then. Is there a connection?
Naturally.
The slim man looks to be in good shape, and though his face remains hidden within the hood, he carries himself with confidence. His clothing exudes something like smoke that makes him look a bit like a ghost. Perhaps a man who can't be found if he doesn't want to be. Thor Bren. Pleasure. I'm a merc, head of the Lanthine Spectre Company. What brings you to the thicket? He sees something in your expression. First timer, huh? Well, whatever we talk about here can't be overheard. Someone tries to read our lips, they get gibberish. Do they hear the fishes? He crosses his arms. Good place to start. Good place to talk business, in other words, if that's what you're here for. Tell me about the Lanthine Spectre Company. We do infiltration mostly, he says with a smoothness that implies he's given this speech before. Sabotage, assassinations, assorted hostile recovery. Sometimes the city hires us to handle local threats, problematic tribes, roaming predators, you name it. Pretty quiet these days, not like when we got started. Our first big job was a series of assaults in the Endless Battle. His eyes flick to your tattoo for an instant, so he knows who I am. At least he knows I'm a cast-up. What's the Endless Battle? Really? He says, cocking an eyebrow. Alright, it's basically like it sounds. A fight that's given people like me a solid payday for more generations than anyone could count. As far as I heard, it's a scrap between rival factions of the Changing Gods, cast-offs. What about? I couldn't tell you. Getting interested in the why of a war always ends up being bad for business. What did you do in the Endless Battle? Can't say. Contracts, you understand. All I can tell you is the Chalcedon pays on time, and that's more than I can say for some of the employers I've had over the years. One of the best jobs we've ever had. Who's Chalcedon? One of the commanders of the Changing Gods' sides. Pays well, and on time, and that's the extent of my opinion on the matter. Now, my turn for questions. It's not just a tattoo that gives you away. I know you, don't I? We fight together? Fight each other? What is it? His hand drops to a pocket near his hip. Tell the truth now. I'll know if you're lying. Try to remember how you know Irathor. I wonder if he actually knows if I'm lying or not. Let's see if we can actually recall him. Failure. No, cannot. You stare at the man's features, a memory slipping in and out of focus through your mind. Eventually it fades, leaving you with nothing. Well, are you going to tell me how we know each other or not? I have no idea. Rothor stares you down, something tickles in the back of your mind. This is miserable, he says, scratching his head. I'm going to be running your face through my head all day. What's your company doing in Sagas? Negotiations. Between meetings with a few council representatives. They may want us for some ongoing work. Bit of a bidding war going on right now, to be honest. We're in demand. And there is something in that satisfaction behind that smile that catches your notice. He isn't just happy at the prospect of solid payday. It's the smile of a man who believes that everything is going according to plan. Right, so opportunity to remember something but forever lost.
Naturally.
A Ying who knows. This woman's expression defies easy definition. It is cool and professional, but focused, interested. She nods at you and clasps her hands. Have you come to trade? Trade what? I am a knowledge broker, a hunter of information. Come to me with questions, and if I have answers, I will trade them. She straightens further and blinks once, managing to make the simple action look as though it was planned in advance. My pricing is simple, a secret for a secret. The only condition is that it must be one I do not already know, and I should warn you that I know a great deal. How do I know you won't claim to know a secret you've never heard before? A fair question. If she is offended, she doesn't show it. But I don't bother with assurances. You can either judge my honesty yourself or take your business elsewhere. What's the catch? Well spotted. There is one, of course, but it is hardly unexpected. Anything you choose to tell me will of course be traded to others in due time. A rare slight smile graces her lips. In short, if you wish to keep something a secret, don't tell it to me. Why don't you trade these secrets directly to the people involved? A number of reasons, but chiefly this. I'm a broker, not a blackmailer. Can we exchange things? Good. What information do you need? I'm looking for a man named Matkina. I don't think this should be your first place to do these things. I mean, I think this might be useful if you're basically stuck and don't know how to proceed, or absolutely have to find the information somehow. Then this type of trading makes sense. But now I feel I don't even know if I have any worthwhile secrets. But now I feel like I would be trading away potentially valuable secrets in exchange for something I could easily find out through other means. So this doesn't make much sense. I'll trade you information for a secret you find interesting. No, we'll go our separate ways for now. Order of Truth. Were there? No, there were other interesting things here. Things I can use, like the fountain. No. No, there's. You ain't seen a lady with a silver belt, have you? Only a plotter paid us to watch for her. Some plotter in the hood gave us 10 shins to watch for some lady with a silver belt.
Yes.
Okay. Trash.
I'm ready.
Lady with a silver belt.
At last.
Is it Alison Perry? I would assume it's a person someone knows. I mean, a named person.
Naturally.
Sigyn. Sheila the Great, who struck off our chains.
Let's go.
This woman is dressed much like the levies who flank her, but unlike them, her expression is sober and alert. Her hair is cut short, the corners of her eyes wrinkled with crow's feet. A little swarm of mechanical drones circles around her, buzzing messages in her ears. She whispers replies in return, and every so often one of them whisks away, disappearing into the city. What is it, citizen? She pauses, eyes starting to your tattoo, then to your face. No. You're the one they call Adan. I heard you were in the city. You sense a sudden weariness in her. It's been 10 years since you last visit. I was too young to know you then, but the drones remember. 10 years ago, you couldn't have been a child. You're not that young. I'm younger than I look. Not like you. The years don't touch you, do they? If you don't mind telling me, what's your business in the city? I could give her a reason, but I'm not sure why I should. On the positive side, she might be able to help me, and I have no reason to protect my particular sources. Uh, I'm looking for a woman named Matkina. The White Death. Her expression goes flat, but her eyes flick to your tattoo again. I should have guessed that. If Matkina is all you want, then you should ask for her in Underbelly. That's the last place any of my drones saw her. The levies don't venture there. She leans a little closer and lowers her voice. And if you leave the city afterward, I'd be very happy if you took her with you. Another drone swoops past you, stopping just short of the woman's head. It unleashes a series of rasp buzzes and squawks. She whispers something to it, then glances back to your direction. What was it you wanted? Who are you? Sigyn, Captain of Levies. I'm not a levy myself, but I command them. Tell me about the levies. She gestures at the two burly, smiling men at her left and right. They look like identical twins. Soldiers in the council service, they keep the order in the city. Her lips purse briefly, but she continues. Every citizen is required to raise a levy for the city's defense. The price is a year of their lives. Do the levies keep every district safe? No. Underbelly lives under its own law. Cliff's Edge lives under no laws at all. If the levies don't keep order in the Underbelly, who does? A man called Folsom. Her expression is unreadable. I don't know anything about him. Why don't you send them to the Cliff's Edge? A lot of homes have been collapsing and the city hasn't been able to help. Her tone is cautiously neutral. The council believes that the presence of levies could incite them to violence. How are they raised? Anyone who lives in the city can become a citizen at 16 years of age, or the equivalent if they're not human. There's only one requirement. They step into a machine at the Order of Truth, and it takes a year of the citizen's life. It uses that year to create a levy. She lowers her voice, seemingly for the benefit of the levy standing beside her. That 1 year is all a levy gets. When it's over, they die. The levies seem awfully happy. A smile and a pleasant demeanor could have 100 explanations, yet this whole city is fooled by them. She shakes her head. I know the levies better than anyone, so the truth is plain to me. Though I'd be lying if I claimed to truly understand them. So are you sure the levies aren't happy? They only seem so. They're not. Right. What were you saying to those drones? They carry my orders to the levies all over the city, and they bring reports from the levies back to me. He reaches out a hand, and one of the drones buzzes something unintelligible. A few years ago, the Aeon priests found them buried underground and brought them back to life. I learned their language, so our conversations are safe from prying ears. And what's the building behind you? How is it that you don't recognize the seat of government? I know you lived here for a time. We could try to evade or lie. I don't particularly see a reason to lie. Again, it could be a problem if everyone assumes that I'm this Adan person. I've lost my memory. You've lost a lot more than that. I've seen images of you through the eyes of the drones. 10 years ago you moved differently, carried yourself like a king in the steadfast. You've lost your soul, or gained one. I don't mean to be harsh. She gives you a faint smile. Thank you for being honest with me. The council meets in there, a representative from every slave family and from some other guilds, depending on who's in favor. Hardly anyone goes in through the doors, though. They're just a formality. Most people have other ways to get in inside and out. You don't like Matkina. I don't like assassins, especially good ones. I don't like the temptation they represent to people in power, to the people I'm supposed to serve. They make it too easy to solve problems discreetly. She pauses as if debating whether to go on. Then she does. I don't like the fact that whenever I scratch the surface of a wound in this city, it leads back to someone with a tattoo like yours. Fair enough.
You want a job done right.
We've been here before, but I have perception now, so I want to see if I spot something new.
I'm going.
No. If perception makes a difference, we don't have enough of it.
Ready.
So, Salimeri, Min of Tan Yan. Only 4 guys.
Find them. Something to do.
Fine.
A small wire-frame pyramid sits on a base of polished wood. Lying inside the pyramid is a dull spear of silverish metal. Examine the spear. Suspended in its wire cage, the spear is almost perfectly sized to fit in your palm. The gaps in the wiry mesh are large enough for you to reach through, though not large enough to pull the spear out. Frame. The frame appears to be fixed firmly in place. It's constructed of an organic material grown in a manner similar to bone or coral. Thinner, vein-like strands of the material wind across each of their triangular sides. Something strikes you as odd about them, but you can't quite determine why. So there's something there. Okay, try to discover what seems odd about the frame. We would definitely like to succeed here. Okay, I have the best. I need to increase my capacity of investing points. While examining the frame, you try nudging it gently and it shifts in a most peculiar manner. You focus on moving the frame in various directions and discover that it can be easily lifted straight up off the base and lowered back down into it, but it refuses to move laterally, even while being held in mid-air. Base. The base appears to be made from a slab of lurid red stone. On closer inspection, you recognize it as petrified wood of some kind. An inscription has been written on the base in front of the pyramid. The inscription is in an alien language. It has been burned into the wood and then filled with a luminous substance. Though you know you haven't seen the language in your own short life as a cast-off, it still seems familiar. A distant memory surfaces. You're standing before a large metallic cylinder that looms a meter or two above your head. Okay, large metallic cylinder looms above your head. The cylinder is a time capsule of sorts, and you are convinced that what lies within it is critical to your latest experiments. The problem, alas, is that the capsule is locked, and the only clue to opening it is a series of strange glyphs etched to its sides. Glancing around, you see dusty tomes, faded banners, metal scraps, and dozens of other objects, all featuring the same strange glyphs. You spent a lifetime collecting every trace of this language that could be found, and decades of study have finally led to this moment. You look upon the glyphs, and you know their meaning. Stepping forward, you reach toward the cylinder as prescribed by the etchings, and it flares to life. Shaking off the memory, you look down at the inscription and realize that its meaning is now clear. A crimson dawn greets the seeker, the violet dusk sees the search end. Okay. So, something about colors? Or time? Touch the sphere. As you extend your hand toward the sphere, the thinner strands along the front side of the cage retract toward the thicker frame edges, creating an opening large enough for the sphere to fit through. Okay, can I take the sphere? You pull the sphere out of the frame through the opening facing you, and it immediately begins to glow a scintillating blue. You pause a moment to make sure there's no other effects, then try to put it in there with the rest of your belongings. At some point during the motion, the sphere simply vanishes, only to reappear within the frame, once again a dull gray. Apparently, taking the sphere will not be quite so easy. Crimson dawn greets the seeker, violet dusk sees the search end. And it was blue. We took it out. So, I guess we need to do something to it, but I don't really get. We don't have options. You pull the sphere out again, and once again it glows a brilliant blue before disappearing and returning to the prey. After a little experimentation, you discover that the sphere's position seems to reset whenever it moves beyond a particular distance from the device. As long as you keep it within that distance as you are now, you can hold on to it. Put the sphere back in the frame. As you place the sphere back in the frame, it changes to a vibrant orange color. It occurs to you that the sphere seems to respond to moving through the frame boundaries. Perhaps moving it through the other sides will produce additional results. Oh, right. So it's a puzzle, color puzzle. Front, left, right, and back. Right. Lift the frame. No. Bottom up. Oh, we can. Let's try the front opening. The sphere deepens to a deep violet hue. Okay, the front is where we need to. Okay, it was crimson to violet. That's what it was. Front opening. Bright orange, right. Left opening. Lurid red, right. Right. Deep violet. Jesus fuck. Dull orange. Cool green. Bright brilliant blue. Blazing orange. Dull orange. Deep violet. Lurid red. Deep violet. Bottom opening. Shining yellow. Inscription. Crimson dawn. Violet dusk. Would that be It's red and the stone mean bright, violet and dull. Shining red, dull violet. Crimson dawns greets the seeker. Violet dusk sees the search end. Maybe it started with the crimson dawn, the orange. So we want violet dusk. Cool green. Dull orange. Blazing orange. Lurid red. Deep violet. Violet dusk. Can I do something else? Brilliant blue. Cool green. Right. Bright orange. Deep violet hue. What was it? Violet dusk. Is it deep violet or just violet? Do I need to move it through all the... There's no option to take the spear out of this. So I think it's a sequence. Left seems to be violet. Back, brilliant blue. Blazing orange. Before, dull orange. So, no, we're starting with crimson, then we'll go to bright orange. Deep violet. Bright orange or deep violet? Deep violet or lurid red? I have no idea what lurid means. Dull orange. Cool green. Shining yellow. Deep violet. Lurid red. There were crimson though. Crimson dawn. Violet dusk. Indigo. Right. Maybe these correspond to colors I add to it or something. Add or take away. Front is orange or violet. Bright orange, deep violet. Bright orange, deep violet. So front is I'll make some notes simply because it's easier to keep in my mind what the fuck we're doing. So front was... we switch between orange and violet. Okay. Left. Orange turns to red. So we remove the yellow. Deep violet. Lurid red. Back to bright orange. Lurid red. What if we go to violet and then... oh yeah. Deep violet. So yeah, it's just a path. It's a 1-2 option with each of these. So right, dull orange. blazing orange. I see, I see. So we basically have to move through a path from red to what exactly? Brilliant blue. Versus cool green. And the bottom. Yellow. Indigo. Indigo is a version of a purple, I guess. Or violet. I don't know the exact shades. So, Crimson Dawn, Violet Dusk. It is violet, not indigo. So, sees the search end. And I'm assuming if I got the correction, the sequence right, I actually have the option to removing the sphere. Currently that option doesn't exist. Remove, I didn't actually take a look at this. Deep violet hue. Right. Bright orange. Good. That's not the start. Deep violet. Remove it. Lurid red. This might be where we are reset, basically, if we don't have the... we get the sequence wrong. So, if we notice any odd colors, we should know that we're making progress in the sequence. We start with the lurid red. Back, right. Back and bottom. Maybe we shouldn't focus on the colors so much rather than the locations. Okay, let's start with the back. Full green, nothing new. Lurid red. Indigo. Brilliant blue. Yeah, this is all the same. Blazing orange. Violet E. Lurid red. Is it a color of the rainbow sort of thing, that you have to move from one end to the other? This could be something that I don't... They are blazing orange. Dull orange. Yellow. Indigo. Ooh. Yeah, this... Wait a minute. Shining yellow. Yeah, this is... my markings here are all wrong. I would basically need to make a table out of this. We have 5 options with 2 choices within all 5 options. I need to know exactly where we go. Otherwise, I can't even try to make informed decisions. This better fucking be worth it. I could also be wrong, so there's always that. But we have a return and what's the other option is? Return and remove option. Right, return, remove. So, if we remove from the front opening, it turns to deep violet. Right. And if we return, Bright orange, right. Ooh. Wait a minute. Right. If we remove from the left opening, it turns to lurid red. If we return from the left opening, deep violet again. Is that actually correct? Bright orange, deep violet U. So it's not exactly the same. What's the difference? I don't know. Is this how the rainbow showed? I don't exactly know what I'm doing here. Anyway, bright return is blazing orange. Wait a minute. What was this then? Deep violet U and bright orange. So it's totally different. Bright and blaze. Remove bright is dull orange. Back. Return back is cool green. And which means it's blue on the other. Brilliant blue. Bottom. Return the bottom indigo. Okay, at least I know what's what now. Shining yellow. I don't actually recall how colors of a rainbow go though, but should we start from there? Lurid red, I would imagine. So that would be red. Remove left. Right, from lurid red to indigo, maybe deep indigo, deep violet, whatever. No, indigo is I don't actually know where it goes. Yeah, this is a problem. I need to. Where do we go from the colors of the rainbow? This is fucked. If we start from red, I think we move to orange, which means blue would become before violet, which means it would shift. No. Yeah, where the fuck do yellow and green go? This is leave the device alone for now. If I don't have a clear if I don't have a clear idea what the fuck am I even trying to reconstruct there, it's not gonna work. I need to remind myself what the colors of the rainbow basically are. It has to have green and yellow too, so we have to move through them. Where do we go from red? We have to go to orange. But how does this work exactly? Is it a rainbow even? Or do we just combine certain things? Yeah, there's too much I don't know. I can test it out a little bit. I'm not sure if that's gonna be good enough.
I like your dress.
I don't want to get stuck on this now. I'll definitely check out the rainbow thing.
It makes you and all
Return
the
to this
look
later.
like a flock of giant birds.
Your first compliment was sufficient, thank you.
Abhumans and of the Sagus Protectorate. Study of savagery. The creatures known as abhumans are believed to descend from human ancestors, but at some point in their history they became something else, perhaps through mutation, directed breeding, or accelerated evolution. Unlike mutants, abhumans have rejected their humanity and live as beasts. Though some are very clever, nearly all of them are violent and cruel, preying upon humanity when they can. Historically, two species of abhumans have been common in the Sagas Protectorate. The first is the violent Murden, hunched and bird-like, with a sharp, dirty beak and a thick down black feathers. Murdens subsist as thieves and murderers on the fringes of human society, rarely posing an organized threat to a community, but often ambushing lone victims or terrorizing isolated homesteads. They are incapable of speech, but they communicate with one another through a primitive form of telepathy that bleeds into the minds of everyone nearby, which can prove a dangerous distraction. Most of the time, Murdens are notorious cowards, preferring to flee if the odds are not clearly in their favor. The other abhuman species that once prospered here is the Yovak, short and squat, with jaundiced skin. Yovoki hunt and kill for pleasure, and they eat whatever they kill. In the days when slavery was openly practiced in Saga's cliffs, bands of Yovoki were permitted to range across the frontier, raiding autochthonous tribes of humans and mutants and taking captives to be sold in their flesh markets of the Bloom. The vicious Yoboki would sometimes rape their captives as well, and stories say that children were sometimes born from these pairings, tainting the bloodlines of certain families. After the rebellion of Chila the Great, slavery was outlawed in Saga's cliffs and the Yoboki fled the Protectorate. They haven't been seen in centuries, but the people in Sega still remember them, and any proof of blood connection to these creatures is enough to destroy a family's reputation. This could be very useful. Books are piled haphazardly on the floor. They reflect a dozen areas of inquiry, most of which are entirely unrelated to each other. Glowing display shows a globe, the ninth world probably. Green lines depict trajectories of the ship that a ship could follow into the void between the four worlds. Meaning of these glowing screens is unclear to you, though a few seem to be maps or charts. They are ancient technology predating the Order of Truth. The desk is tidy and neat. A book entitled Ecology of Biomechanical Hybrids is open to a sparse entry, the enigmatic Numenera.
Of course.
A mass of leathery flesh sags against the railing. Sharp probes are stuck into its skin, surrounded by festering sores that ooze a foul-smelling oil.
Yes.
His desk is cluttered with scrawled notes, piles of paper, and worn books. The owner was either extremely disorganized or left in a hurry. Examine the papers and books. You rustled through the maze of documents and notes. Most of them discuss the buildings and architecture of prior worlds. They're filled with drawings and descriptions of bizarre structures uncovered by scholars and explorers. The owner of this desk seems to have been particularly interested in doors, door frames, and archways. He has drawn circles around all such things, but his scrawled comments are never more revealing than similar but not a match, or could there be a connection here? You scan the jumbled books and documents, but you don't find anything new. Most of them describe the architecture of prior worlds. Anything resembling a door frame has been circled in brightly colored ink. You also notice a few letters and personal correspondence, but they appear to have been written in code, or perhaps in a foreign script that isn't familiar to you. We aren't getting anything out of it.
We shall see.
The light that shines from within this strong glass chamber has a cool and clinical glow. Its doors are permanently
Ready.
sealed. It seems to go here. This synth sarcophagus could hold a large human. Its surface is pitted as if it survived a sandstorm and the original color was worn away.
On it.
This machine is a chaotic assemblage of metal tanks and tubing. A work table mounted with spare parts stands beside it, and is connected by wires to an oddly familiar sarcophagus and other devices. Examine. As it turns out, there is very little to examine. Every access point to the machine has been carefully sealed. Some of the hatches and panels are worn with use. They are like accessed by the Order when they perform maintenance on the machines. Others are gleaming, ornate locks with twisted keyholes, unmarked by the scratches and nicks of careless everyday use. You run your hands across the surface and feel the ghost of another person's hands doing the same. Try to determine why this machine looks so familiar. Fail. Fuck. Memories drift past like cobwebs. Yeah, we might as well retry. The memory opens like a gaping mouth and closes around you. Hot wind pulls at your robes, jagged grit claws at your eyes. Squinting through the storm, you see the machine, half buried in the sand. Curiously, you wedge open a panel. Inside is a spear, sparkling like a jewel, but soft to the... Life drains from you into the sphere like blood from a wound. The machine is stealing your life. Growling, you return the favor, ripping the spear from the machine and regarding it with cold eyes. The memory releases you abruptly, leaving you panting in the front of the machine, which is not the ruined monstrosity your predecessor discovered in the Archopelagian ruins. You know, however, that the orb is sealed somewhere inside the device. So it's not I thought it was this silver orb, but no. You rap your knuckles experimentally on the side of the machine. The sound reverberates through the hollow space within, echoing and echoing into inaudible eternity. Pick through the spare parts on the table. You sort through the jumbled components on the table. There aren't many, nor are there any duplicates. These appear to be spare parts for the machine. Okay, we can't do anything about it now. Right, I'll have to leave things here for now. I'll continue with talking to these people, maybe try to figure out what the combination here is. That bothers me more than anything else.